One of the things you probably heard me say over the years is that a team that goes in needs to truly go all in, and if they do go all in, it better pay off. And there's no doubt that over the past 3 seasons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were all in. They understood the assignment. If they're going to go out and sign Tom Brady, that clock was ticking to the end of his career in retirement from the moment they signed him before that 2020 season. So they went all in these last 3 years. And it paid off. They won a Super Bowl in that 2020 season. Made the playoffs all 3 years of Tom Brady there. Won a couple division titles. That's what you want to do, right? If you're going to go all in. Now, I wish the Bears would be able to sell out and do that and get a Lombardi trophy out of it. Now you go all in. Typically, there's a price to pay for that in the NFL. And it certainly feels like the Bucs are in that spot in 2023, like Tom Brady's retired. You kind of think like, hey, even though they made the playoffs last year and they had Brady, they also had a losing record. They were not a very good team. So they were just the best of the worst when it comes to the NFC South. And you feel like there's going to be some type of regression there. Certainly is, right? But even then, you could say Tom Brady did throw, no matter what you want to say about it, Tom Brady did throw for over 4,600 passing yards in his last season, and now he's retired. So, that 3-year stretch for Brady in Tampa paid off big, but now there's probably a pretty big price to pay. And what they did this offseason, talking about the Bucs, certainly feels like a stopgap measure by signing Baker Mayfield. Now, here's my thing. They burned a second-round pick on Kyle Trask with the thought being, obviously, that he would be the long-term replacement for Tom Brady. So what does it say about Trask, a guy that should have never been drafted in the second damn round to begin with, that a guy like Baker Mayfield, now going into his 6th season in the league and with his 3rd team, a former number 1 overall pick bust, Baker Mayfield himself, is going to have the keys to the car and he's going to be the starting quarterback. Not good if you're Tampa, right? And when you look at the draft for the Bucs based off of their position, it wasn't a sexy draft, although I thought it was solid those first couple of picks. Kalijah Cansey, he's going to be a guy that should be able to cause some problems as an interior pass rusher. And then you look at Cody Mauch in the 2nd round, you would assume he's going to be a long-term starter inside his guard. But those are not the types of picks right now that are going to, make you like scream and say, oh my God, this is awesome and this is amazing. No, not really. Because you really get the sense that this is going to be a transitional kind of rebuild type of year, a bottom out type of year, which is really unfortunate set of circumstances for head coach Todd Bowles. Because I would frankly be surprised if he survives past 2023 or even makes it all the way through 2023. It's just kind of my feeling right now. Now, in terms of this roster, what do I like about the way they're built? Like, they're not a total shit team here by any means. They've still got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, although it seems like this could be the last season for Mike Evans in Tampa. Crazy to think now, isn't it? That great 2014 wide receiver class. This is year 10 for Mike Evans in Tampa. He's just been a consistent year in, year out, most years, 1,000-yard receiving machine. They've got those 2 wide receivers in Evans and Godwin. Like a lot of teams wish they had those types of weapons on the outside. And whether it's going to be Mayfield all year or Trask comes in at some point and plays, at least they can say that they've got some help around them in terms of the offensive skill players. And then I go to the defensive side of the ball, and I look at their pass defense. It's a pretty good pass defense unit, and I expect that to stay the same again this year. And I look at their linebacking core. It's a solid, really good linebacking core. Levante David, who I just want to call out here, he doesn't have the Pro Bowls that you would think he should. He's a guy, talking about Levante David, and I think a lot of the film nicks, the film studiers, when they talk about players that regardless of postseason accolades, they would look at them and say that that's a Hall of Fame player. They played like a Hall of Famer. Levante David is one of those dudes. And I'm glad a couple of years ago he got his ring. I wish over his career he would have gotten a little more shine. But as an off-ball linebacker, that position just doesn't get a lot of love in the modern NFL. But he's been great for a long period of time. And It'll be sad to see when his career ultimately ends, and it'll be sad to see that he will never have a shot at Canton in the world, although if you watched him based off of his play, he really, frankly, deserves it. But you've got him, and you've got Devin White on the inside, then you've got Shaq Barrett and Tryon Shoyinka on the outside. So you've got a couple of good edge rushers there, a couple of good inside backers. Like, that's a pretty good linebacking core, which is important when you're running the defense that they run. In terms of things that I question about this team, a big one, obviously, is the running game. I don't see how they're going to get any better in 2023 compared to where they were last year, where they struggled to run the ball consistently. You know, Rashad White, Chase Edmonds, is that doing anything for anybody whatsoever? I don't really think so. And then I look at Baker Mayfield, and I say, yeah, you've seen enough of Baker Mayfield to know he's not that dude. He's not going to be the long-term answer. And if that's the case, why aren't they playing Kyle Trask? Is it like a desperation for Todd Bowles to think like, no, Baker Mayfield gives us the best chance to win? Maybe he does. But this is a team that just a couple of years ago invested a second-round pick in Kyle Trask. This is the perfect season to play him and find out what the hell you've got. And if he went out there and face-planted the first couple of weeks, okay, then put Baker Mayfield in if it's so bad and you're feeling desperate. That I get it. It's easy for me to say from the outside looking in, but damn. Like, they've got to be able to, you know, give that kid some chance. And it doesn't look like they're going to, at least initially. But I look at Mayfield and I say, you know, the offensive line in front of him should be adequate. He's got a couple of stud wide receivers. If he doesn't play well, then you really don't have any excuse. It is all on him. Now, in terms of the schedule for the Bucs, I look at the first 2 weeks of the season. They go to Minnesota, and then they host Chicago. And you look at that and you say, okay, like, got to try and at least be 1-1 of those first two games, because if you don't, it's going to probably go downhill pretty quickly. And then you look at, like, weeks 9 through 15. They go to Houston. They host Tennessee. They go to San Francisco. They go to Indianapolis, host Carolina, at Atlanta, Green Bay. So you're talking about a couple divisional games mixed in there. That's a stretch where they have 4 road games in 6. But if you were looking at if you wanted to believe like the Bucs had a shot in this division, and to be fair, I think they technically do, because they get a couple of good bounces to go their way, and this division is kind of boo-boo. You know, it's not crazy to think 8 or 9 wins could win you this division in 2023. But if the Bucs have any shot at all of winning this division, it's going to be because of the results in this 6-game stretch. Like, Houston's not good. Tennessee, I assume, is not good. San Francisco probably still is, but Indy's not. They've got Anthony Richardson. They're in a rebuilding year. Carolina's starting Bryce Young. You've got Atlanta. They're giving Desmond Ridder a shot. Green Bay giving Jordan Love a shot. Like, that is a stretch of schedule right there. San Francisco, frankly, with Brock Purdy, right? Like, a bunch of teams with a bunch of questions at quarterback. Houston with C.J. Stroud as a rookie starting. Like, that is a stretch of schedule where the Buccaneers, with some of their championship experience, they might be able to make some hay. I don't really think they're going to. I think this is going to be the worst team in the NFC South. Although, like, there could be very little variance like there was last year. Like, everybody was either 7-10 or 8-9. But right now, I think that this team will take a step back. No Brady. That hurts. I think they're going to finish like 5-12. And, you know, you get to a point maybe with these Bucs where their fans are starting to get the tank fever. And I can't blame them, because they're going to need that long-term answer at quarterback, because they don't have it right now.